Captain Crunchbeard banged his spoon on the pot. "Tonight we cook pirate stew." The crew tossed in silly ingredients, a splash of sea foam, 3 dancing shrimp, and 1 sock, extra stinky. The pot bubbled, hissed, and boom! Out popped rainbow steam. Suddenly the stew turned the pirates into parrots. "Squawk, more stew," they cried. Laughing, Captain Crunchbeard added sugar stars. The stew poofed again. This time, everyone turned back into pirates, with glitter beards and twinkling eyes. From then on, pirate stew wasn't just dinner, it was the most magical meal on the 7 seas.
Drums boomed. Flutes tooted. "Join us," cried the parade leader. Children rushed from their houses, some clapping, some dancing, some spinning ribbons in the air. Ella twirled with a scarf, Sam clapped with spoons, and little Ner shook a jar of pebbles like a maraca. Animals joined too. A monkey juggled bananas. Parrots sung harmony, and even a shy turtle tapped his shell like a trumpet. "Let's join in." They cheered as the parade wound through the streets, over the hills, and all the way to the shining sea. When it ended, the children whispered, "Best parade ever." But the magic beat still thumped in their hearts.
3 fluffy owlets, Tara, Kiki, and Pip, sat on a branch waiting for Mama Owl. "Will she bring us worms?" asked Tara. "Or fireflies?" guessed Kiki. "I just want a hug," squeaked Pip. The forest was dark and full of whispers. Crickets chirped like tiny violins, and the trees swayed with lullabies. Suddenly, a shadow swooped. "Mama!" But instead of worms, she brought a glowing lantern filled with starlight. "Tonight," Mama hooted, "we're going on a night flight adventure." The owlet's eyes grew rounder than the moon. They soared through the silver sky, swooping over sleepy deer, giggling streams, and foxes chasing fireflies. When they finally landed back home, Pip yawned. "Best surprise ever." Mama wrapped them in her wings. "Sleep tight, my brave owls." "Papa, how far is the moon?" asked little Aisha, snuggled in his lap. "Far, far away," Papa smiled. "But my love can reach it." He lifted her onto his shoulders, and suddenly, whoosh, they were riding a rocket made of stardust. They zipped past clouds, waved at shooting stars, and zoomed around the moon. "I love you to hear," Aisha squealed, hugging Papa tight. "And back," Papa laughed, as the rocket looped through rainbow comets and whooshed back to Earth. They landed softly in her bed, blankets tucked like cozy space clouds. "Good night, my moon traveler," Papa whispered. Aisha yawned. "Love you to the moon, and back, forever."
One summer night, the fireflies decided to put on a play. "Who will be the hero?" asked Cricket. "I will," said Rabbit, hopping onto the stage of moss. "I'll be the fairy queen," squeaked Mouse, wearing a crown of daisies. The audience soused foxes, and hedgehogs clapped their paws and wings as the play began. There were daring rescues, magical spells, and even a chase scene with buzzing bees. At the end, the stars twinkled like stage lights, and everyone shouted encore. The forest echoed with laughter, proving that midsummer nights are made for a little drama and a lot of fun. The stars blinked awake. The moon whispered, "Time for bed." The kittens curled in a basket. The puppies yawned in a pile. The birds tucked their heads under their wings. Even the frogs croaked a lullaby as the river hummed along. In a small house, a little child stretched and yawned. Mama tucked the blanket tight. "Time for bed, little one," she said softly. Outside, the whole world hushed. And under the watchful glow of the moon, dreams began to twinkle, one by one. In the oldest library in town, the books whispered at night. They weren't just books, they were alive. When the moonlight touched the shelves, glowing lanterns appeared. Out popped the guardians of law, tiny owl-like creatures with feathered cloaks. Their job, to protect the stories if a page was torn, they stitched it with golden thread. If a tale was forgotten, they sang it back into memory. One night, a boy named Theo wandered in. The guardians fluttered around him. "Will you help us?" they asked. He nodded, and together they rescued a story about a pirate who had almost vanished. From then on, Theo visited nightly, guarding stories so every adventure would live forever. Ella woke to find her slippers walking by themselves. "Odd," she giggled. Downstairs, her cereal floated into the bowl and sang a song. On the street, cats wore top hats, dogs rode bicycles, and fish swam through the air like balloons. Everyone laughed and clapped as the strangest parade marched through town, and that, Ella whispered with a grin, was the oddest of things I've ever seen. But when she blinked, it was all gone except for her slippers, still wiggling happily on their own.
In the middle of a lunch plate sat one lonely chicken nugget. "I wish I was special," it sighed. Suddenly, poof, a sprinkle of ketchup magic made it bounce to life. The nugget hopped onto the table, did a somersault, and shouted, "Ta-da!" The fries clapped. The peas cheered. Even the milkshake bubbled with applause. "You're not just food," they said. "You're a superstar snack." From then on, the chicken nugget didn't feel small at all. It knew even one tiny bite can bring big joy.
Stick was thin and lonely. Stone was round and shy. One windy day, Stick blew right into Stone. "Boof! Sorry," said Stick. "No worries," said Stone. From that moment, they were inseparable, balancing, building, bouncing together. When Pinecone teased Stone, Stick stood tall. When Stick felt small, Stone stood strong. Best friends forever, they cheered, and no storm could ever break them apart.
Olive loved colors. Red, blue, yellow, green. She loved them so much that one day, the paintbrush leapt from her hand. "Catch me if you can," it shouted, streaking rainbow swirls across the walls, the floor, and even Olive's shoes. "Oh, Olive," cried Mama, chasing after her daughter and the runaway brush. Olive giggled, dipped her fingers into the paint, and joined in. Together they painted flowers on the fridge, stars on the chairs, and even a giant smiling sun on the ceiling. When they were done, the house glowed with color. Mama sighed but smiled. "Oh, Olive, you've turned our home into a masterpiece."